What's up, everyone? We're gonna try something a little bit different because as I was making videos before, sitting in front of a camera with a mic in front, as I was like going over all the content, I just kind of realized it's really boring. The LA Marathon's less than a month away now. It's been great because I've been able to get some training sessions in with James. So, one, training has been a lot more engaging and fun. And two, it kind of like put me in a place where, like, last year, I was just training to run it by myself. So there wasn't like that much of a burden because it was mainly like if I did my training well, then hopefully the marathon went well. This time though, I'm setting up the training for myself and James, and the goal is to help James run under 4 hours. It's a little bit more pressure because it's not just for me, but I have to make sure that our training is effective enough so that he hits the goals that he wants. So our training's been a mix of short runs during the week, ranging anywhere between 4 to 8 miles, and then having one long run ranging anywhere between 13 to 20 plus miles a week. So having at least 4 running workouts for the week. Yesterday, since it was kind of that marker for me of we're a month away from the marathon, that was my cue that it's time to actually practice and run a full marathon. So I try to program at least 3 big runs. Big meaning like runs that are really close to a full marathon, so like 24 miles, and at least one run that is a full marathon, 26.2 miles. And the reason why for myself I like that strategy is because if I'm able to do it during training, it really sets me up mentally, like that I'm capable of actually doing the full distance. So that was like one of the big like benchmarks for me last year, being able to run a marathon around my neighborhood. So it really set me up mentally, like, all right, cool, I got this. So the day of the marathon, like, I just have to show up and at least I know I'm capable of doing it. Second reason why I like running a full marathon before the actual race is because it allows me to really check to see how my nutrition, hydration, and my gear setup is. If anything needs to be like changed up, or if everything's solid, then it's kind of like another checklist, off the mental checklist to really show me that I'm ready for this. So those are the 2 big reasons why I like to run a full marathon. The third reason why, not just for the physical benefit, but for the mental benefit. Now, yesterday, And in full transparency, I am breaking up my run. So yesterday, I ran about 4.6 miles with Olivia and our puppy Tony. And then I ran another 12 miles on my own, unbroken. Then I went back home, kind of rehydrated a little bit, grabbed another Honey Stinger gel, and then went to finish off the last, what is that, 10 miles? Now when I hit mile 21, I wasn't feeling like tired or gassed out, but mentally, I really wanted to check out. I really wanted to go home, rest a little bit more, give myself an excuse not to go back out and finish the marathon. And I think, again, that's a huge benefit in actually running a full marathon and training, is for that mental fortitude. Because there are gonna be moments I'm gonna see people who are gonna walk. I'm gonna see people who are gonna stop. And I'm gonna wanna do that too. So yesterday in that moment, I really had to push myself and remind myself that I'm fully capable of finishing off the run without going home premature. So a lot of it's physical, a lot of it's mental. So typically after you run a huge volume of miles, you know, a lot of people tell you to rest and recover. And I think that's super important. Like, you definitely need to rest and recover. And I think the tough part with the statement, or the confusing part of the statement, is what do those words mean? And I think the biggest thing is like really understanding and listening to your body. If you went for this big run, whether, you know, it could be anywhere between like even 6 miles, 4 miles, 10 miles, 13 miles. And if your body really feels beat up, you're sore, maybe you took a few bad steps, and maybe you're like me and your body's just like, well, guess what? Our ankle's gonna turn right now. Then I think rest and recovery is a lot of stretching, a lot of stationary movement. So when I had my most recent ankle sprain, I was kind of tired of these typical remedies. You know, you might hear RICE, which is an acronym for rest, ice, compress, elevate. And I did some research because I've been listening to some podcasts, and, you know, there were some statements saying that this remedy was very outdated, and the doctor who prescribed it ended up rescinding his study. So I did some research, and all of that was true. This doctor didn't implement this study on enough people to have like a good bulk of data. So I was wondering, okay, then what is the more contemporary take on an ankle sprain, how to recover from that? And surprisingly, the answer was movement. So those are kind of my post-marathon training thoughts. And I'm hoping that this format works out, because for me, it's a lot more fun and engaging, and hopefully for you, it's a little bit more engaging and insightful. So thanks for watching. Gotta go. We'll catch you all later.